Welcome to the NHN, your vetted resource for all things natural health. Today I am with Justin Shillette, and he runs Texas Vision Therapy, and it is a completely different approach to vision than I have ever seen. So I'm so excited to introduce you to him and to what he does. If you have children all the way through elderly that have any vision issues, then he is a great resource here in Katy, Texas to tap into. Tell us a little bit about your education and background and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. So my name is Justin Shillette, and I'm a developmental optometrist here in the West Houston, Katy area. We have a really specialized practice, and it's one of the true devoted to this type of care in the whole Houston region. So my educational background is I went to the University of Texas at Austin, where I got my undergraduate degree. And then after that, I went down to South Florida to a school called Nova Southeastern University. That's where I got my optometry diploma. That diploma, that degree, allows you to be a general optometrist, like what you would experience if you have a red eye or if you need new glasses or new contact lenses. And then to get to this stage, what I did was I completed a year-long accredited residency in completely the field of vision therapy and visual rehabilitation. Since then, I've completed countless hours of continuing education that really allows me to hyper-focalize on this specific area, dealing with children that have developmental issues, that have reading issues, learning issues, that have crossed eyes, lazy eyes, dealing with individuals that have suffered from concussions or brain injuries, and then dealing with adults who have issues with their visual performance, like their focusing problems. A lot of times we'll hear adults that have issues with driving, like they'll have anxiety while driving. So kind of a roundabout answer, but I've done a lot to get to this stage.
Yeah, sounds like it. So you also work with kids and adults in sports as well, right?
Yeah, so what we do here is you can think of it like visual performance enhancement. Now, whether that's performance enhancement because you have a problem, whether you're a child that's just not developing appropriately, whether you have a performance problem from the normal wear and tear of life. You know, people nowadays spend 8 to 10 hours a day on a computer, and they go home on their phone for 2 to 3 hours and they hold their phone this close from their face. That can create all kinds of problems that is able to be dealt with. Or maybe you had an injury, such as a concussion or a brain injury. You know, that can obviously create a lot of problems. But so those are issues where visual performance is a problem. And then sports, visual performance is major key, right? If you're watching a ball, how do you judge where you're going to catch it at? And so you can always improve the performance of any type of athletics to make them do what they do at a higher, more intense rate.
What services do you offer? I know it goes well beyond just your normal getting a prescription and glasses and things like that. So
yeah, so the short answer is we do a lot. A bit of a longer answer is we offer the services of what's called behavioral optometry, vision therapy optometry, and then neuro-optometric rehabilitation. That's a lot of different words to say basically the same thing. So rather than your traditional, you go to the eye doctor and you look across a room, you stare at little bitty letters that are at the bottom of a chart situated 10 to 15 feet away from you in a small little lane. Rather than doing that, we deal with performance problems, and we're able to help children that have reading and learning issues. We're able to help people, concussions, like I stated, and we do all this through specialized glasses. Maybe your two eyes don't work together because they're not balanced, so we can provide glasses that balance how your two eyes focus. Maybe your peripheral awareness is poor and you almost have like tunnel vision, so we can do colored light therapy to help with that. Or most importantly, we offer vision therapy, visual therapy activities, neuro-optometric rehabilitative activities, and that allows you to regain or develop the functions that you're not experiencing currently. So we do a lot of different, really high-tech stuff.
Yeah, and it all, from me taking a tour through your office, it all seemed like kind of games that you would play. It's a lot of fun. It's a totally different perspective. I was totally blown away by what you have to offer, and that it doesn't feel like, oh, I gotta go to the vision therapist. It's like, I'm gonna go play with things and have fun. And so another aspect that I found was interesting was that your treatment plan can vary, but you teach people how to train their eyes and things like that, so that they're not in the therapy for years and years and years.
Exactly.
It takes about how long?
Well, so that's hard to say because every case is different. So what we start with is the very first thing that we do is we have to figure out what's going on. So for example, this morning we actually got a phone call where somebody was saying how they had a brain injury and therefore now they can't feel like they fuse images together. So maybe they're experiencing double vision where one eye is sort of pointing this way, the other eye is pointing that way, and they're seeing two of things. Well, the first and most immediate way to deal with that is you provide them glasses that try to make them see single. So that's step one. So that is an alternative. Then if that's not enough, then we would go the route of vision training exercises or vision therapy exercises. Now how long that lasts for is hard to say because again, it depends on every case. Some children you can easily work with in 4 to 5 months. Some children and adults you need 8 to 10 months, 12 months max if they have like a super crossed eye or something like that, where their eyes are just pointing here, there, and everywhere. Of course you need a lot longer time.
Right.
But yeah, once we treat the person, once we help them meet the goals that they want to have, once their symptoms are seriously reduced, then we basically kick you out and say, hey, you're good to go. You've achieved what you wanted to. It's kind of like riding a bike. You're not necessarily going to forget how to now look better.
Mm-hmm.
So once you're back in working order, then hey, we're done with you effectively.
That's great. And so do they ever need to come back for like maintenance if something?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, it completely depends on the case.
Okay.
So for a child who has a lazy eye, for example, where the two eyes aren't developing in the same way, and as such, one eye doesn't see as well as the other, you might need to continue doing maintenance exercises because you need to ensure that once you're done with the active therapy, you're still maintaining the benefit. But we taper you off of that over time, so it's not something we want you to do for the rest of your life. Then, heaven forbid, you have a car injury or you get into a wreck, you get a brain injury, stuff can always come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with how the brain and the eyes work together. So any type of problem can then create something else down the line. But very rarely do we find that people have to continue doing this once they stop the weekly in-office therapy.
So what does an initial consultation look like? Someone comes in brand new.
Sure. Now that's another interesting answer. So it depends on what they're calling for. As you stated earlier, too few people know about what we do. So often what we'll do is we'll spend 20 to 30 minutes with you on the phone trying to figure out, are we the right clinic for you?
Right.
If you're just having an issue with blurriness far away, maybe you need a new contact lens prescription, well, you know, any optometrist can deal with that. But if you're having issues, let's say, with motion sensitivity, you've been to every doctor under the sun, you have these very specific complaints, well, we'll help you kind of elucidate and put to words what you're experiencing, and then tell you how we're able to help. So our first consultation is, on average, it's about 60 minutes in length. What we do are, we look at several major areas. We look at, of course, how do you see from far away, how do you see up close, of course. But we also look at how do the eyes track. So for example, you're holding a notebook. When you read, your eyes don't move smoothly across the page. They don't glide along. They jump from word to word, from line to line. And you have to know how that works. For kids that can't read well in school, hey, they might have that issue. For people who are struggling at work, maybe they can't move their eyes accurately. So we look at how their eyes track. We look at how the eyes focus. Does one eye work harder than the other? Do you see a lot of blurriness because the two eyes are almost fighting each other? Look at how the eyes team together, how they coordinate as a unit, because even though we have two eyes, they work almost as if they're one, for most people at least. We make sure that your eyes are able to team together to create depth perception, to create the ability to see in 3D. And then we also look at how you are understanding the space around you. What's your peripheral awareness like? Can you tell whenever something is here? And can you sort of judge where things are at in order to learn how to shift your gaze around you? So we look at all those major attributes, and then sometimes we even watch how you walk down the hallway, for example, if you're having balance issues or dizziness issues. And then we're trying to find out if we can give you a specialized pair of glasses that can reduce your symptoms. We try to figure out if you need some colored light therapy based on how you're peripherally aware, what are your functional visual fields looking like. And then if we're not able to do either of those, then we're going to make the recommendation for either additional testing where we might look at your visual thinking skills. For example, to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent, kids that have BDPQ issues, that's not dyslexia, that's an issue with spatial orientation. So we can test that if that's indicated. And then from that, we also consider vision therapy, since that's the bulk of our work here.
Okay, so is the additional testing in-house, or would you?
Yeah, so it's another evaluation.
Okay.
What that looks like, it's kind of a lot of what you would think of as almost educational type of testing. It's not educational, but what we're doing is we're looking at how do the visual thinking skills allow you to perform in school. Do you have good visual memory? Can you remember what you see? Can you remember the sequence of what you see? How does your handwriting look? How are your eyes leading your hands to rapidly and accurately recreate images or word designs? What is your sight-sound association looking like? Can you recognize something that you hear when it's written down on a paper, for example? And then we also look at sort of the understanding of orientation. How are you able to identify like from like, dislike from dislike, and things like that. So it's all done here in-house.
So who is your ideal client?
Well, that's hard to answer because vision therapy and neuro-optometric rehabilitation, they're useful for so many people. If you have a performance problem, no matter what your age is, we can help you out. But specifically and kind of pertinent to today's modern society, our ideal patient is the child that struggles with reading and learning. So it's the kid who sort of suspicious for dyslexia, sort of suspicious for ADHD, probably has dyscalculia, probably has dysgraphia. All those D's have been thrown into the mix, but nothing is solid, nothing sticks. And they are smart, they can repeat to you everything that they've heard about, you can go down a YouTube rabbit hole and they remember every fine detail. You can talk to them and they can hold elaborate conversations. But when you put the eyes to the page, they can't perform in school. There's this disconnect between their academic performance and their innate natural intelligence. Homework takes them forever. There's temper tantrums. The family dynamic is just stressed because the child just can't put their attention, they can't point their eyes, move their eyes, think about what they see, focus on it accurately without discomfort. And as such, that just throws everything into the mix. So that's the ideal person because oftentimes they've been told, oh, your distance quality of eyesight is totally fine. There's not a problem there. Well, of course there's not. There's often an issue with how the eyes move. There's often an issue with how the eyes focus over time. There's often an issue with how do both eyes point together at the same place and keep that alignment, or do they fatigue and their eyes drift? And as such, they start seeing double or they see words move around on a page. There's often an issue with their visual thinking skills. So that kid where it's just like, what's going wrong with this kid? Why can't they perform in school? They haven't been formally diagnosed because nothing comes back conclusive. That's our ideal candidate because 9 times out of 10, they're gonna have some type of visual issue that we can treat.
Okay, and then you mentioned people that have issues with driving and maybe dizziness and things like that as well.
Yeah, those are also really cool because for adults, there's a lot of relief. One thing that probably the most common phone call that we've gotten from adults deals with anxiety while driving, deals with when they go to Costco or Walmart, for example, all the little things on the side of the aisles, the motion in their periphery of those little pieces of stimuli. If you're driving down a tree-covered road, the flicker of the lights in between the trees, that bothers a lot of people who can't coordinate their eyes well together. So you can often give them prism glasses, you can often do certain types of exercises and reduce those symptoms like crazy cool.
Okay, that's fantastic because I know a lot of people struggle with driving and that can be really scary and debilitating, keeping you at home and not able to live your life. So
for sure, especially because the interstate's right there and everybody goes 85 miles an hour down the interstate. Mm-hmm. If you can't tolerate the movement of cars in your periphery, you're going to be effectively you're not going to be able to leave your house.
Mm-hmm. Or not go far and do what you want to do. So do you have a favorite success story from a client?
Favorite success story? We've treated a lot of different types of cases. We've helped children that have crossed eyes straighten their eyes. We've helped children with lazy eyes develop the use of both eyes together and actually have good quality of sight out of each eye. We've helped children get back to normal in school. But I think the coolest one that I've treated was an adult that had a stroke. So she had a stroke and it left her eyes vertically misaligned. So one eye was higher than the other, and as such, everything she was seeing was double. And when she came in for her first appointment, she was wheeled in a wheelchair because she couldn't walk. Everything was double. She didn't know what was real, what was fake, where things were at. Couldn't figure out how to move herself because her vision was failing her. We did a few months of vision therapy. We gave her different types of glasses. We always changed out the prism to help her improve her ability to see things as single. And once she was done here, she left, walked out of the office. She was able to drive again, able to walk around without any issue. And most importantly, her eyes are straight. There's no vertical misalignment whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a very amazing outcome.
Okay. Well, I think that we've given our audience some great information to know who needs to contact you. The way that you contact Texas Vision Therapy is go to naturalhealthnetwork.org, and there he has a directory listing. Go to our directory and you can check out this video. If you're finding us on YouTube, there's also a blog and all of your contact information, your social media links, all the things. So we are so excited to partner with you to help people know more about you and to get the vision therapy that they need. Naturalhealthnetwork.org is your vetted resource for all things natural health. So head on over and check out the directory and find Texas Vision Therapy, and they look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for coming in, and thanks to all of you who are watching.